Yo, what's up? It's your boy back in the house. Now listen, man. Sorry for not uploading for so long, but we gonna get straight into this. So let's go. Subscribe, hit the like button, do all those things.
When I was 17 years old,
Yeah,
I was a senior in high school.
Yeah.
It was the middle of the week, and my friends and I were chatting online about wanting to do something new and fun over the weekend. We usually just went to the movies, went to the mall, or got dinner. And I thought we should try something different.
Watch a movie at a movie theater. Hey, I got popcorn at home. I got a movie theater cinema at home, bro. Why you going there?
The next day, I was in the computer lab for one of my classes, and I had some time to kill because I finished my assignment early. Keep in mind, Snapchat and Instagram were just starting up and didn't have the same kind of popularity as it has today. So the only thing we really had at the time was Facebook. However, my school was strict and blocked Facebook, so the only thing I could really do was read articles on news websites. While searching and scrolling through the internet, an article showed up. It was about an interview with a man who was discussing the truth of paranormal activity around the area I grew up in. Intrigued, I read the article and looked up the places the guy was talking about. And sure enough, I found a bunch of things. One place in particular caught my eye. It was a place about 20 minutes away from where I lived.
Oh, I'm getting goosebumps
paranormal
on goosebumps. Okay, bro. Go my snakes. Some oranges got over.
This happened on the exact same road. As soon as class ended, I texted my friends about what I found, and we all agreed on going and seeing what this road was all about Friday night. Friday night finally arrived. It was me and 4 of my friends. Right before we entered the location, I parked my car and had my friend drive, because we believed that if a guy drove, not much would happen. So she drove my car while I was sitting in the passenger seat. While switching seats, my other friends put baby powder on the top of my car, because one of my other friends had read that it helps people see when ghosts touch or brush your car.
What the heck does that mean?
It started to drizzle a bit, which bummed us out, because the baby powder would be washed away. As we were driving my car, we turned off the radio to make it more suspenseful. All of a sudden, we heard someone from a distance scream bloody murder. At that moment, I heard the sound of a car door trying to be opened, as if someone was aggressively trying to get into my car. After that, we saw a police car driving so fast with the sirens on, as if they were chasing someone on a major highway. The problem with that was the road was paper thin and had tons of sharp turns. So you couldn't go that fast without crashing into another car. Plus, the car didn't have any of the county police or trooper tags from the area I lived in.
This is so hard.
I knew that because my dad was a cop, and I saw all kinds of different cop tags in my lifetime. I was freaked out that those 2 things just occurred. We were all freaked out and drove to the nearest parking lot so that we could calm down. As we got out of the car, one of my friends started to freak out even more.
What?
The baby powder on the roof of my car was smeared, and it was all over my passenger seat side door. What was even more creepy was the fact that there were finger marks all over the door.
Oh my.
Now, this wouldn't normally creep me out, but we were driving the entire time. And we all made sure not to touch the doors when entering the car. The strangest part was that the finger marks had no fingerprints, but were clearly shaped like a hand. It was as if someone was trying to reach for the door handle. Not only that, we also noticed that there were fingernail claw marks on my door handle. This freaked me out because earlier I heard someone violently trying to open my door. In the next few days, we told everyone, both online and in person, about that night and how it freaked us all out. Then, someone sent me a link to an article about the street we drove on and all the activity that occurred on it. But it wasn't the one I originally read. It was a different one. As I was reading the website, I started to notice that all the things mentioned also happened to me the same exact way that night. But what freaks me out the most to this day is thinking thinking about what would have happened if I didn't have my door locked. Would the door have opened up?
No. Bro. Okay.
A few days ago, I went to a Macy's store with my mother and son to go check out some jewelry. While my mom was checking out jewelry, I noticed an old man around his 50s come near us. He was about 8 feet from us. At first, I thought he was just a random customer checking something out for his lady or something. Then, from the corner of my eye, I noticed he was just standing there without moving and looking at us. It made me feel uncomfortable, so I turned around, moving the stroller, which my toddler was in, because I didn't want him looking at my baby. I turned my eyes to look at him again, and I could see that he was just staring at me with a creepy look. He was staring at me and my baby. Then, all of a sudden, he grinned widely at us. The weirdest thing about him was that he was wearing women's shoes and a scarf, and also holding a dress in his hand. He opened his mouth and tried to say something. I couldn't hear what he was saying, but I could read his lips. I like you. I like your baby. I just thought the man was a weirdo. And then my mom also noticed that he was odd and creepy. He saw that my mom was glaring at him, so he walked away. But then he appeared on the opposite side of us and started staring at me again. This time, he pulled his phone out and made it seem like he was about to take a picture. He was staring at us and his eyes opened widely. He was smiling like a crazy psychopath. That was enough.
I mean, if someone like YouTube, I have you guys staring at me right now. So it isn't that creepy. It isn't that creepy. Okay, bro.
I wanted to go up to him and tell him to get away from us, but I had my boy with me and didn't want anything to happen. So I chose to just get out of there.
Yup.
I told a lady who was working there what happened. She said that she would go take a look at him. A few minutes later, she came back and told us that he was a customer who has been reported before by other people. My mom asked, "Why hasn't he been kicked out then?" The lady said, "Well, because he hasn't threatened or hurt anyone, so the store doesn't have a good enough reason to kick him out." My mom and I were pissed off
he has
because
the
obviously the
intentions
man
to
is
do
just
that,
there
you
to
know.
harass people. The lady then told us that he said something creepy to her and also made her uncomfortable. She told us that when she went to go ask him what he was up to, he told her that he went to the store to return a dress. He decided that he didn't like that he bought it for his lady. He told her with a smile, "Yeah, I need to change quickly because she's cold now." My mom and I instantly felt so creeped out, so we just left. What did that mean? Could he have been hiding a dead body back at his place? A few days later, and I feel relieved that the crazy guy didn't harm us. But I'm still wondering what he meant by, "She's cold now."
Oh my. Why did you marry that guy? Or did you even marry her? Or did you kid? I know, bro.
This story happened in the summer of 2017 when I was 10 years old.
2 years?
My older brother and I had a babysitter, and she was around the age of 17. Since my mom was home on Tuesdays, the babysitter would come on the other weekdays. Most days when she babysat, we would go to the neighborhood pool, hang out, and eat lunch there. Then we went back home and my mom would arrive a bit later at around 5:30 in the evening. On one Thursday, the day was just an ordinary one, and the babysitter came around 8 in the morning. A few hours later, we decided to head to the pool and eat lunch. We all got ready and headed out the door. As I used to be a little paranoid back then, every time I went outside, I made sure I locked the door and would immediately turn try to open it to make sure it was locked. The door was definitely locked, so we walked to the pool and swam for a while. Then we ate lunch and decided to head back to the house. When we got home, I pulled out the key from my bag, but I noticed that the door was a crack open. I pushed it, and the door swung open. A little chill ran down my spine as I remembered that I made sure the door was locked before leaving. My babysitter had a frightened look on her face too. But my stupid brother thought nothing of it.
Get
and
that
just walked right
357 in
so
here,
we
bro.
followed him. About my house, when you walk into the house, to the right is an entryway to the living room, and straight ahead is a hallway to the kitchen. The stairs are to the right of the hallway, and you can see the upstairs railing from the entrance. We walked into the kitchen and set our stuff down, and I went to go lock the door. After I shut it, I turned back around to go back to the kitchen, but something caught my attention at the corner of my eye. Looking up at the railing, I could see the silhouette of someone crouched behind a tall, narrow floor fan. I looked a little closer, and I could see their eyes. They were wide open and were staring directly at me. I was frozen in fear and couldn't move. All I could do was stare back at them, not knowing if it was a man or woman. My babysitter called for me to come to the kitchen, and the figure slowly walked into a nearby room and disappeared. I ran into the kitchen, telling my babysitter and brother what I saw. At first, they didn't believe me, but then, all of a sudden, we were all silent as we heard slow footsteps creaking from upstairs.
Yup.
She quietly
Now you
grabbed
gonna
both
believe
her
him?
phone and a kitchen knife and ushered us to the back door. She slowly turned the doorknob and tried to not make any noise while opening the door. We made it to the backyard, and she was going to call 911 on her phone. But before she could, we heard a tapping sound coming from one of the windows on the second floor. So we all looked up, and then we saw him.
No.
He was a man, late 50s, short black hair, eyes still wide open, staring at us. He was pushing the blinds out of the way, so we saw his face very clearly.
No.
We
May the power of the orange
and
be with
started
you,
running
girl.
to the gate on the
May
side
the
of the
power of the
backyard.
orange be with you.
The babysitter dropped her phone while scared, so I picked it up and ran behind her. I dialed 911, told them our address, and explained to the operator what just happened.
May the
She
power of the
said they
orange
would
be
be
with
there
you.
in a few minutes, told us to go to a nearby neighbor's house and stay there until the cops arrive. We rang a doorbell a few times, and one of our neighbors, who was retired, came outside. He let us in, and we explained what happened as we were looking out of the window. Then we saw 3 cop cars pulling up, and the cops were surrounding my home. 3 cops headed in through the front door and investigated our house. We went outside to tell them that we were okay, and the other police officers started questioning us. Soon the cops came back after finding nothing and doing a thorough investigation. They told us it would be best to not stay home, as the person may come back. So the babysitter said we could go to her house, which is about a mile away. Just then, we heard our neighbors screaming from down the street. A few houses down, a policeman's car was set on fire and was smoking a lot. The cops spotted a man running past the corner down towards the end of the street.
Oh my god.
One officer took us to the babysitter's house, while the other 3 went after that man. We later found out that the man had gotten away, so he never got arrested. Our parents arrived home as they were contacted by the police and freaked out. Later that night, we came back to the house and we searched the whole place to see if anything was missing. A cash box that was stored in my parents' bedroom was missing, but we didn't report it since the man was never found. I have no idea who that was or how he opened our front door.
Pick
I
lock.
still wonder to this day what would have happened if I never noticed the man. He could have done something to us while we were sleeping. I still feel uneasy sometimes when I'm home alone.
Yup. Oh.
It all started one summer afternoon in August. My best
Isn't
friend
this
Mike
look cool?
invited me
Doesn't
to
this
his
look
house.
cool?
Mike was the type of kid you'd call a nerd. He always got good grades, wore glasses, had freckles, and believed in things like dragons and magic. One of Mike's favorite things to do was performing magic for me. Every time I'd come over, he'd perform magic. But this magic
Pretty
trick,
good,
though,
pretty good.
would be the one that I'd never forget.
What?
When I got to Mike's house, he said, "I have a new magic trick to show you, and it's the best one." He grabbed my hand and we went into the living room where he had a large box in front of his family photo. It was all 4 of his family members in that picture: Mike, Josh, and his mom and dad. The box was about his size so he could fit in it, and his older brother Josh was standing next to it. So I sat down on a couch and Mike started introducing the name of his magic trick. It was called the vanishing. Josh opened the door to the large box where nothing was inside, and Mike walked in. After Josh closed the door again, he then said some weird words and then yelled, "Poof!" Josh slowly opened the box, and Mike was no longer in it. However, I was in the 7th grade, so I was smart enough to know that under the box was a trap door so he could climb down out of it. So I looked down at the bottom of the box, but to my surprise,
Okay, guys, Shamir is here. He's going to watch with us, okay, Shamir?
Okay.
He got the blanket, I got the blanket.
nothing was there.
And I got the
No
mobile.
door, no secret,
Oh,
no
Jimmy, I've
Mike.
got 9
Just at that moment, my mom called and said that I need to come
Yes,
home right
Mom.
now. I said bye to Josh,
Bye.
grabbed my backpack, and yelled, "Nice trick, Mike. Gotta go." Everything was fine, just until the next day.
What?
The next day, Mike didn't invite me, but I thought of going to his house again. I ran up to his house, stood in front of the door, and rang the doorbell 3 times. His dad came.
Shamir, go down. I want to go to the charging. Then you can come back. Okay, bro.
out and said, "Oh, hello. Nice to meet you." He acted like that he'd never seen me before. It was weird, but I asked, "Good afternoon, sir. Is Mike home?" And I could see his confused face, and he answered, "Mike? Who is Mike?" I felt stupid at that moment, as if I had come to the wrong house. I then quickly asked, "Your son Mike? You have 2 sons." During explaining the situation, I felt irritated, so I pushed him to the side to get into the living room. "Josh," I said, pointing to the photo, and then my eyes widened. Mike wasn't in the photo. I was pointing to nothing, which would have been where Mike should be standing in
Okay, I'll
that
take
picture.
this. You take that.
I panicked and I couldn't believe what was going on here. I then said, "You're your son, Mike.
son's back.
He has good grades and he's good at
He's
magic."
back.
Oh, the box. I thought that everyone was playing a prank with me or something, but he looked extremely confused and even terrified.
What?
He looked at me as if I was some kind of lunatic. So I
What,
ran
guys?
to the box and I opened the door thinking that I must be dreaming. The room
Guys,
was full of bookshelves and beanbags, all in a circle. It was
guys.
just a cozy reading room.
Get
Stop, stop.
I was horrified.
Stop.
I kept saying, "No, it can't be," over and over.
Did you
That
on
moment,
the
Josh came
video?
into just a cozy reading room.
Mommy,
I was
did
horrified.
you want the video?
I
Yeah.
kept saying, "No, it can't be," over and
Guys,
over.
here's some.
That moment, Josh came in the room.
Okay. Okay, bro.
I thought, this is the last chance. I
Guys,
quickly took out my phone thinking that I could
I'm
bring Mike
talking.
to them by showing selfies that I
Mommy,
took with
go
Mike
in the
before.
living room.
However, just when I did, he was in none of the pictures. The one where I gave him a hug, where we went to the other friend's birthday party and took a picture with the clown,
Oh my.
nothing was there. It was like he never even existed before. I felt that moment was like a nightmare. To this day, there is literally no one who remembers Mike in my town. I still can't believe what happened to Mike, but I definitely believe that Mike is real. And he must be somewhere.
Take this one. You take this one.
Wait, what is that?
Take this one.
I don't need more
I
oranges.
believe in you, Elsa. More than anyone.
Wait a second, I want to see what has happened.
I still
I
can't
think
believe
this
what happened to
one.
Mike, but I definitely
This
believe that
girl.
Mike is real. And he must be somewhere.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
That wasn't scary though. That wasn't scary though.
My name is Kyla. This story is about a piano that was in my elementary school. When I was a kid, my friends and I used to record random videos in my school's basement. Most of the time, the basement's lights were off because hardly anyone went there.
Oh
And the
no.
reason was that that place was scary and sometimes smelled really bad. The basement was completely dark. We slowly walked in the basement with our phone lights on.
Why people be
I was
investigating?
nervous, but my friends were already walking ahead of me, so I just followed them.
Look at this.
We were a group of 5, so I felt like I shouldn't be scared since I was with them. My friend Michael was in the front since he was the bravest and also the one recording on his phone. I was in the very back and holding onto my friend Kate's shirt. There was a room just beside the basement's wall, and inside of it was a grand piano. Nothing else, only the piano.
It's okay.
And inside that room
This one,
first,
see, is big.
we
No,
were
this
all
one
quiet,
is big.
Go
and
take.
you could only hear our heavy breathing as we walked through the basement. But we didn't hear anything. And then, out of nowhere, Michael said, "Boring." It took us around 3 minutes to reach the end of the basement. Michael put his phone back in his pocket, and we all started walking back in the long basement.
Can you open this one
We
so I can
finally
smell
returned to
inside
the
of
main
it?
gate of our school
Yeah,
and
open
sat
this.
on a bench.
No, you.
Everyone
cannot
was
open
focused on Michael as he pulled
I
out his
smell this.
phone and started playing the recording.
You
It
want?
was quiet
I
at
want to
first,
taste this
and
one.
then all that could
Okay,
be
stop,
heard
stop.
were our whispers as we tried to figure out whether or not we should continue with the recording. And then all of our eyes widened when we heard a sound coming from what seemed like just beside the basement.
Here, go.
We couldn't believe what we just heard, so we paused the video, rewinded it, and played it again. The sound came from the grand piano. It
No.
was playing a creepy song, and at that moment, Michael almost dropped his phone. We were all shocked and scared. We didn't say anything for a while. I'm 100% positive that we didn't hear that piano playing as we walked through the basement. It was definitely quiet, and the scariest thing was that the piano was still playing when Michael said, "Boring." The recording was around 3 minutes long, and when the recording was done playing, we were all speechless. This was many years ago, but to this day I still don't have an explanation for what happened. Maybe someone went to that room and played it, but if so, why couldn't we hear it while we were walking through the basement? We also didn't see
Because you
anyone
didn't
else
hear it, but when you went up, then someone went down and played it, and then you heard it.
down there.
It's not in the video. If you go to
And
the home and
why
play it
did
again,
we
it will
only
not be
hear
there.
it when we played
Yes!
the recording?
Guys,
I am
Stop.
still
No.
confused about that incident.
Oh.
This happened in the middle of last year. At that time, I was at home with my boyfriend Dan watching TV. Dan was deeply concentrated on what the TV
You're a
screen was
girl?
showing, so I was about to start making a romantic atmosphere. But then I heard a knock at the door.
The heck?
I got pretty pissed off as it interrupted, but got up anyway and opened the door. We lived with one of our friends, so at the moment, I thought it would be my friend. But to my surprise, it was a man around the same age as me. He looked a little bit tired and was forcing a smile on his face. He was all sweating, and his eyes were red as if from crying. But it wasn't my business to ask. "Oh, hello," the stranger said with a wide smile, taking his hand out for me to shake. "Hi," I said, looking at his hand and back at him. "Can I use your bathroom, please?" he asked, still having this huge smile plastered on his face.
guys.
Before I could say anything, though, Dan came behind me and told the guy that, indeed, he could use the bathroom.
No.
The man went in there, and Dan and I just went back to the couch and waited for him.
She's
Then I
crying
heard
just
some
like
sounds,
crying.
like water pouring.
Stop! No!
Still having this huge smile plastered on his face.
No.
Before I could say anything,
Wait, tell me
though,
last
Dan
one.
came behind me and told the guy that, indeed, he could use the bathroom.
No.
The man went in there, and Dan and I just went back to the couch and waited for him. Then I heard some sounds, like water pouring in the bathtub. After 10 minutes, I slowly started to get curious as he didn't come out yet. I told Dan that I should check on him, but he told me to wait a little bit more. So I just waited, and 20 minutes later, he didn't come out. There was just silence in the bathroom. After 30
May
minutes,
the power of
Dan decided
the
that
orange
he'd
be
check the
with you,
bathroom.
young man.
However, having a bad feeling, I went along with it just to be sure that nothing happened.
Guys.
"Hey, is everything all right?"
Guys.
I knocked at the door of the bathroom, but there was no response.
Stop.
I repeated
I
the
hate
actions, but
you.
this time I knocked louder and yelled. Dan told me to wait a little longer, but I refused. I pressed on the handle of the door, expecting it to be locked, but to my surprise, it wasn't. I couldn't believe what I saw in front of me.
What?
To my horror, there was blood splattered on the floor everywhere, and the bathtub was filled up with a red liquid, as well with a lifeless body in it. The smell of blood filled the bathroom, and I wondered how I couldn't smell that outside. I told Dan to call 911 while I went over to the body to check his pulse. But when I got closer to it, I noticed that a razor blade was shoved deep in his neck. He was just dead.
Hold up.
After half an hour, the 911 arrived with the cops. They took his body and we had to give our report to the cops. To this day, I became more paranoid about a stranger. Especially, I'm positive that letting a stranger use your bathroom is not safe and just nonsense.
Yup.
So, don't let the stranger come in. Ever.
Holy.
Call of Duty Mobile.
Bruh. Guys, I'm gonna end this video here. This video is getting too long, so subscribe to all that stuff. Hit that bell notification button, and I'll see you next time. Good Friday.